All right, let's talk about the power and effectiveness of fasting. Fasting is a marvelous way to give your health a boost. Whether you're trying to recover from a chronic illness, maybe improve the situation for chronic illness, or you're already healthy, whatever your situation may be, fasting can be so helpful. So let's talk about it. It helps you to establish a baseline that involves no calories, right? It's unmatched power in calorie control. This is the kind of diet that in some ways you could say it's actually not a diet. It's more about the timing of meals. People talk about timed meals or meal timing. They also talk about timed windows for eating. I talk about timed windows for healing. Think of fasting that way. It's an opportunity for your body to heal, to play catch up, and to get back to a healthy place. So when you're fasting, you consume 0 calories, right? Which creates a significant caloric deficit. So your body is in a state where it's not taking in food. Therefore, the calorie balance is down. It just makes sense, right? The body's going to compensate for this by utilizing stored energy. It's going to make use of that stored energy in the form of either excess blood sugar or excess body fat, which leads to weight loss or weight correction. So if you need any support that way, fasting can be so helpful. From what we can tell for the research, as well as the clinical and practical applications for people around the world with fasting, it really can't be outperformed. It's super effective. No diet is more effective than 0 calorie intake for immediate calorie utilization. In other words, you're forcing the body to use the energy it's already got, which is pretty awesome. Now, I want to take a note here to discuss something that I haven't necessarily mentioned in some of the other videos, which is important. We're not trying to encourage eating disorders. If you're a person who knows you have disordered eating or you're vulnerable to it, whether it's anorexia, bulimia, anything like that, intermittent fasting, fasting of any kind, water fasting, etc., fasting mimicking diets, we're not trying to encourage eating disorders, okay? So if that's an issue for you, you might want to hit the pause button and not necessarily proceed with a fast. Do check in with a licensed health professional or medical professional who can guide you, okay? Please don't struggle with that because that's important. My clinical experience with the people that I've worked with has let me know that many of them are aware if they have disordered eating that perhaps fasting might not be the right thing for them. For others, it's been part of what's freed them. So you check in with what's right for you, all right? Okay, let's continue on. So we want to help the body, that's right, to assist it in reaching and sustaining metabolic flexibility. What do I mean about that? Metabolic flexibility means the body can easily switch between fat storage and fat burning mode. And for some of us, particularly when we were younger, that may have been quite easy. And for some of us, particularly as we age, that might shift. And in today's world, so many more people are struggling with this issue. So it's worth talking about. One of the benefits of fasting, of intermittent fasting, water fasting, fasting mimicking diet, is that it increases insulin sensitivity. You can also decrease insulin resistance at the same time, right? So your body's use of insulin, that hormone that takes up the energy called glucose, your blood sugar, becomes more effective and efficient. It also encourages steadier, more even blood sugar levels, better glycemic control, and can help you avoid feeling hangry and acting hangry. Hangry is a combo of the word hungry and angry. And if you are the kind of person who acts out when you are hungry and angry, and people avoid you, people say, I'm not even going to pick you up at the train or meet you at the airport or come and be with you at the store at a cafe until you've actually had something to eat, you might be hangry. So it's a good time to reflect on your own behavior. You may also have a feeling of jitteriness and not feeling particularly your best. And so internally, you may have a sense of, I'm hangry. Okay. All right. Another thing about fasting is that it is wonderfully customizable. You can make it your own. It has adjustable durations for the length of time for which you would actually do the fasting, right? So if you've done a 16-hour fast, let's say from 6 p.m. the night before, all the way through to 10 a.m. the next day. That would be a 16-hour fast, right? Because obviously, when you're asleep overnight, you're not eating, you're asleep. And then you've extended that window from 6 p.m. the night before when you stopped eating to 10 a.m. the next morning you started eating for that 16-hour fast. If that's not yielding desired results for you, you can always increase your fasting periods to longer periods of time. Maybe an 18-hour window works for you, or 20-hour, perhaps 24, 36, or other hours safely. Okay? And then there's personalized goals to consider too with fasting. The duration and the frequency of your fasting can be tailored to achieve specific health or weight loss objectives. Perhaps blood sugar control, breaking through insulin resistance, maybe be able to have a better relationship with food, to make peace with food. These are all wonderful, reasonable personal goals to have as part of your fasting. All right. Another larger consideration around this is that fasting enhances fat burning specifically. You're forcing the body to burn fat preferentially as its fuel source because you're not taking in new food. Therefore, you're not taking in blood sugar called glucose. You're not taking in foods that would break down into glucose, right? So it has to mobilize the stored fat it already has for energy. So extended fasting increases the burning or the oxidation, the usage of your body's already stored fat. So it breaks down that stored fat for energy. That's what's going on. It also activates a pathway for ketosis. Ketosis is the state where the body's fat becomes the primary fuel source. So longer periods of time spent fasting push the body into ketosis. All right, what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you find this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to see you around here again. Kindly share this video as well. All of this helps YouTube to know that you value this information. It's great when you share it. This way you can help me grow the channel and reach others with the information. Thank you so much. All right, let's continue on. Additional benefits specifically for type 2 diabetes, pre-diabetes. Intermittent fasting is a wonderful tool, a helpful regimen and therapy. Also for type 3 diabetes as well, also known as Alzheimer's, cognitive decline, cognitive issues, and things with dementia. Anything to do with the brain and neurologic concerns also can benefit from fasting. So specifically though, to get back to benefits for type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes, it's a natural way to help you improve the regulation of your blood sugar levels, to give you better glucose control, better glycemic control, to say that a little more fancy, better glycemic regulation. So without eating, without this food intake, your body is going to use excess blood glucose, also called blood sugar, for energy, reducing those blood sugar or glucose levels. This is good news if you're struggling with diabetes and trying to get into a more even, healthy range. Intermittent fasting, really all kinds of fasting, also supports a drug-free remission. Studies show that fasting can help some individuals achieve remission of type 2 diabetes without medication. And I know for some people who have type 2 diabetes, they're looking to reduce their dependence on prescription meds. This gives you a realistic way to go about doing that. That's a really helpful tool. Again, fasting is about simplicity. Now, what does remission mean? 'Cause I know that sometimes people have this question. If you've already been diagnosed, for instance, with type 2 diabetes, that means your A1C, the hemoglobin A1C number, is at a 6.5 or higher. For you to be in remission, then your A1C has to go under 6.5. So it could be anywhere from a 5.7 to 6.4. Now, the range of A1C for prediabetes is 5.7 to 6.4. If you were to get under 5.7 with your A1C, say your A1C is a 5.5, 5.6 or lower, that is reversal of type 2 diabetes, okay? Just want to be really clear that we understand what the terminology means. Something else to know about fasting is it's really effective for your energy management. Your body gets really good at tapping into the stored energy as a source, and things run a little more evenly, metabolically speaking, right? Fasting trains your body, gets it in efficient mode to switch between burning glucose and burning fat, improving metabolic health. This is what I mean by when I use the phrase metabolic flexibility. Okay? And then here's another aspect to consider, the psychological and behavioral power of this. People experience improved self control. For anyone who's struggling with feeling like they are impulsive or they lack discipline, there's some ways that when we talk to ourselves and we talk about self-control, etc., it's really not helpful, or discipline or willpower. The reality is that we can't muscle through these things, but we certainly can use ancient things like fasting to be our friend and help us to feel like we're more in charge of the choices we make. In particular, fasting helps to put your awareness on any habits you have around eating patterns and unnecessary snacking. So fasting does help to develop awareness and discipline by breaking habitual, unconscious, really, eating patterns and unnecessary snacking. We get advertised so many times, eat all kinds of snack foods here in the US, and it is really unfair, as if, that's our job, and it's not. The other thing that goes on is that many snack foods here in the US are full of, frankly, crap. They have the most bizarre array of chemicals and additives and food calories and this, that, and the other thing, none of which is there to help your health. They just want to sell you more of it. And then they're going to blame you when you've got a problem after they've trapped you into it. It is wildly unfair, but that is the system we've got. So your way to fight back, one of your most powerful tools is fasting, however you choose to do that, okay? Another way to look at fasting is it's a way to make peace with food. If you find that you're just struggling and at war with food, this is a way to calm that down and to put the control and the power back in your hands where it belongs. Another thing about fasting is that it can give you freedom from food dependency. Sometimes people have a particular mental approach to the way they interact with food and beverages, and this will help to reduce that mental energy, if you will, that psychological reliance on constant eating, just constantly putting something in your mouth and promoting mindful eating habits. It's really important to be aware of these things and to take charge of it. And if you start to have struggles or feel bad about yourself, please don't. Remember, this is always about progress, not perfection. We're all human. You do your best at all times, and this is another tool in the toolbox to help you live your healthiest life. All right, friends, what are your thoughts? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you find this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'd love to see you here again. If you share it, that's also wonderful too. This way you can help me grow this channel and reach others with this information. Thank you so much. Please take great care of yourself. Self-care is not selfish. Remember, it's progress, not perfection.